Okay, I think that's good. Hi, hello everybody. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good day to wherever you happen to be at in the world right now. My name is Elizabeth. I am the library business manager here at Hiveclass. What that means is that I am the person who has their fingers in all the pies as it comes to the platform that I'm about to show you. So any kind of questions that you have regarding the platform itself, how it could be used, in your library setting with your patrons, how your patrons could use it from home, please feel free to ask any questions, and I would love to answer. I'm also joined today by my colleague, Paul, who is our Chief Product Officer. Paul, if you could just introduce yourself real quick, and then I'll get started.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. This is Paul from Los Angeles. Here enjoying this nice morning, seeing the sunrise. And I'm just here to support Ellie here to give you a nice run through of what the digital encyclopedia offers, why it matters for your community, and we'll also be able to dig into a quick demo of the platform itself. And hopefully there's some good questions out there, and I will kind of remain silent for this first half and we can kind of see what questions may arise later. Thank you so much.
Okay, and then it looks like we are also joined by Joe, who is our CEO. Looks like he's still getting situated. So Joe, we were just doing introductions before we get into the presentation. Do you want to just introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Hopefully you can see me. I'm Joe Titus, based in New York, and excited to be here with you all.
Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So Hiveclass, the digital encyclopedia, is a brand new platform that's been around now for a couple of years. And the big points is that Hiveclass was designed to do three specific things when it comes to our patrons. We really want to improve engagement and achievement by giving our learners and giving our users choice and making things accessible. We want to be an interactive and innovative resource to help encourage skill development and really practicing these things that they're learning. And we also wanted to introduce a form of personalized learning into your current database and resource collection, which may not always be a focus of resources that are sold into libraries. We'll get a better look at the platform in just a few minutes, but just to kind of prep you, these are all the things that are included in the database that you all have access to. So we have a video library of a little over 15 units, which is including the 3 that are actually coming, that'll be launched this month. We have resources for librarians to use in the form of programming guides for both youth and teen services. We also have reader advisory that I've built into the platform that goes from beginning reader all the way up to young adult and teen. And beyond that, there are more features to kind of help make the journey a little bit easier for everybody. So our content's available in both Spanish and English from beginning to end, and we have an accessibility feature that interacts with the entire platform so that every single user can get the experience that is best suited to themselves. This last little bubble, I just want to also take a few minutes just to kind of highlight, which is that everything on our platform was built by a team of top physical educators, and it aligns with state standards here in the States. So the reason why that's important for us is because we really want you to know and understand that the skills that we're teaching and the things that we are showing to our kids is really from the mindset of growth and really understanding the developmental skill set of where kids are and should be at any given moment. Okay, I mentioned just a moment ago that we have programming that's integrated into the platform, and that comes in the form of 2 guides that I've written using my experience. I didn't mention in my introduction, but I actually am a former librarian myself. I worked in youth services for a handful of years, especially during the height of the pandemic here in the States. And so what I've done is I've created these guides to give librarians, parents, whoever wants to use them, ideas of how to get their child or their teen physically active in a way that really speaks to, their age group, their interests. So the one for youth services is designed to get kids moving while supporting developmental, social and motor skills. And then the one for teen services is really just to remind teens of the joy of being active. And it also has a few arts and crafty ideas in there to provide outlets for tools to support their mental health, because that's something that is, of course, very important. Both of these guides are offered for free to our clients and to our users. You can find them both on the platform, and you can, if your account is tagged a certain way. And you can also find them on the Hiveclass website by visiting our resources page and downloading them there. Through the rest of this month, we're actually offering supplemental resources for each of the seasons. So these are just a handful of new programming or new activity ideas that are designed around the season, and that actually implements using the platform itself a little bit more. And then last but not least, I just wanted to give everybody a quick snapshot of who we are at the company. You'll see here at the top, Joe, myself, and my colleague Brittany are the library team. So if anybody ever has any questions or concerns or just wants to know a little bit more, you can feel free to email any of the three of us. And then below is just a really high level view of the rest of our company, because we are built by the people that, are in our hive. So that's all I have for just the moment. If anybody has any questions, I'd love to answer. Otherwise, I am going to shift here to the actual platform itself. Okay, I want to make sure I'm not moving too fast because I know I have a tendency to do that. Okay, so here is the digital encyclopedia platform itself. So whether you are a staff librarian, you are a parent at home, you're a child, a user, you will get the exact same viewing and learning experience from start to end. The only difference are these two tabs here, which I won't focus on. They're strictly meant for library staff. So if you scroll down, you'll see this is our dashboard. So these are at the moment 12, but it will be 15 in just a couple of weeks when we launch our new things. If you have anybody who wants to, you have a child or somebody who wants to learn how to play a sport, they would just come here. So I'll go basketball because I really like basketball. And so what we've done is, rather than saying, okay, well, if you want to learn basketball, here's every step to learning basketball, or rather than saying, here's where I think you should start, regardless of your own specific journey, what we've done is we've broken things into skill sets so that your user, your patron, can start with any tile in any order that they want. There is no right or wrong answer. So I'll just go to ball handling here because I just like it. And then before this plays, okay.
You're dumb.
Okay, before this plays, I'll just draw attention to a couple of things. One is that you'll see here on the side, these are all the skills that we've added just for the learner to get comfortable with handling a basketball. So again, it's self-guided. They can go as fast or slow as they want. You're going to watch one video just to focus on one skill before you even think about anything else. So I'm going to let this play for just a moment. I'll make sure closed captions are on, and then we'll get started.
All right, guys. Today we're going to do hand guiding ball while dribbling. You know the deal. Remember to check your surroundings and make sure you have a safe space to work. You need a ball for this exercise. All right, y'all. Let's get ready for 30 seconds of hand guiding ball dribbling. Stand with a slight bend in your knees for balance, remember? Hold the ball in your dominant hand with your fingers equally spread apart across the ball seams, ready to push the ball down at any moment. Your non-dominant elbow should be bent and your hand relaxed, mirroring your dominant hand. This non-dominant hand should be ready to cross the ball over or guide it to a pass or shot.
Okay, before she continues, I don't want to give everything away. There's a couple of things that I always like to draw attention to.
For balance.
I'll rewind it here. And anytime I watch the video, which is that you'll see in every single video that we have on the platform, we have additional cues. So there's the voiceover of our athlete or our person on screen. explaining you the intricacies of how to do whatever skill. And then we also have these textual cues here to reinforce the more important parts of what the voiceover is saying. And then we also have these visual cues here. Sometimes it'll be a circle or an arrow or lines or some kind of indication to really highlight what the position of a certain limb should be, or how you should put your weight on your foot or something. Because what we're really trying to do is learning any physical skill like this without having a coach next to you is of course very difficult. And we want people to learn safely and properly. And so when we have these visual cues, it's our way of saying, hey, these are the things that are very important for you to learn properly. The rest of it, your elbow doing something, your head doing this, it's not as important. It'll come with experience and time. So about halfway through each of our videos, we have a challenge implemented. Just do a second, because you can see it's really what this is just 30 seconds. Sometimes it can be up to a minute, depending on the skill, depending on the course. But these are challenges that are built into each of the videos, and it's our way of encouraging our users to now get up and physically learn and actually do the thing that we've shown them. Because I know for myself, there can be a tendency to just watch videos all at once and think in your mind, no, I can do that. It's pretty easy. I don't need to practice. But you do need to practice, and we really want to encourage kids to, get up and get physical. While I'm here, I also always like to draw attention to the accessibility that I mentioned just a moment ago. So this is the widget. I'm sure many of you may have seen this already on other platforms, but this interacts with everything on the Digital Encyclopedia platform. If you or one of your patrons fits one of these so-called profiles, you can click one of these buttons. I'll just do dyslexia, or maybe I'll do colorblind. And you'll see that it changes every element on the platform at the click of a button to really help your user and help your patron have the viewing experience that they need. If they don't fit one of these profiles, it's absolutely no problem. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. They can come down here and select any order of these settings. I'll just kind of click randomly so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And then this will be remembered by their profile the next time that they visit the platform again, so they don't have to keep clicking these buttons and reselecting their options. Okay, so that is the most basic version. I always like to go in and show a couple of more things and draw attention to a few more things. So we just looked at basketball. We also have dance here, and dance is actually two forms of dance, which is jazz and hip hop. As well as these three tiles here, which are a little bit more general, teaching you dance moves and skills that relate to both styles. We have functional fitness here, which has elements of yoga, calisthenics, a little bit of bodyweight muscle building. We have self-defense, which has elements of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, some karate, some MMA. And then when you scroll down here, we have a course for mindfulness. So this is just a course that is designed to really help people, patrons, kids connect with themselves. And I'll let that play for a second.
Hello, Hive Colony, and welcome to Hive Mind. Today's Be Mindful practice will focus on our breath.
We're gonna skip.
Or even your belly. Soften your gaze, or if it feels good to you.
Okay, I'll just pause it there. Obviously, I need to watch the mindfulness course myself because my patience is not the best, but the reason I like to draw attention to this is because it really highlights the fact that Hiveclass is not a platform just for physical movement and for sports, but for whole body health. Including the mental and emotional aspect of it. So we have content and courses that really support whichever aspect you really want to and need to focus on. Before I move on to a couple of other features, I did want to just draw attention to Reading Hive. This is the reader advisory that I'd mentioned a moment ago. And this is something that was really built using my experience again in a library, because reader advisory is something that I had always struggled with my patrons, especially when it comes to sports books. So if I had a patron who really wanted a book about basketball, I can show you to the nonfiction fiction section, no problem at all. I think we all
Sorry, the sound dropped for me.
Hi, Elizabeth. I'm not sure what happened. Let me just check in with her. Sorry about this, everyone. I believe the audio is cutting out for everyone. If that.
Okay. I'm so sorry. My internet has been not fantastic lately. I must have dropped for a second. Okay. It was somebody saying something before. Should I continue where I was?
Yeah, you can just finish up with the reading advisory.
Okay, great. So, so what you'll see here is for every sport that we have on the platform, I have books that speak to the age group that is recommended. It goes all the way from beginning reader, which you see here with Spike It Mo, all the way up to young adult and teen. So for something like field hockey, which tends to be a little bit older, that's what that is here. I have the grade and age level. I've got reading level. I tried to be a little bit more. I tried to use reading level metrics that were a little bit more widely used, because I want everybody to know at a glance, librarians, patrons, families, whoever, to know if this book is appropriate for the person it's intended for, and if it will really help support their interest. Okay. Again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to interrupt. I have zero problems at all. All right. And then I mentioned as well before that our entire platform is in Spanish, so I'll just quickly show that. So everything from the thumbnails all the way to the videos. I'll go back into this one that we watched earlier so you can get a comparison.
Levemente flexionadas, el equilibrio. ¿Lo recuerdan? Sostén el balón con tu mano dominante y tus dedos separados alrededor del balón. ¿Listo?
I think Ellie's having some intermittent issues. Apologize. I will just kind of speak in for her until she comes back. That the Spanish is available both, as you could hear from the voiceover itself. The Spanish is available as well as the closed caption.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Yes, thank you, Paul. I am so sorry for the technical issues here. So that is the overall really high level look at the platform. We could spend hours going through every single course and every single video. If there's anything anybody in particular would like to see, I am happy to go through and highlight that. I've mentioned a couple of times the courses that we have coming up soon. We have strength and conditioning. We have aquatics with elements of water polo. And we also have gymnastics, which is focusing on tumbling. And those will be launched in this coming month through March. Okay. Before I move on to programming, Joe and Paul, is there anything that you think that you'd like for me to focus on if I have not already?
Maybe just show the library resources and then we can go to questions.
Sure. Okay. So this library resources tab is one that I mentioned. It's specific to your account type. So the only way you can get access to it is if I tag your account as a library admin. So if that's something that you need or that you would like, feel free to just email me directly and I can get that taken care of.
Or we should put that through ACO.
Or through ACO, that's correct, yes. And so these resources are really just files and things that we're sharing with you to try to make things a little bit more helpful. So you'll see a couple of one sheets, things that you could use as flyers and FAQ. These are the programming guides that I'd mentioned, which I'll go through in just a moment. If you need, if you'd like a video to watch to share with your patrons, or for social media, or for whatever you would use it for, that's here, because we're trying to help and provide you as many things as we can. to make it easier for you to promote and use this with your patrons. Okay. I'll pause for a moment if anybody has any questions at all. Again, feel free to ask. No. Okay. So I'll ask a question that we often do get asked, which I feel like it's a topic that not many people think to bring up, and which is, how are we different or how are we better than YouTube? And I actually really like answering that question because I think it's a good one. So YouTube is a fantastic resource. I think we all know that. The thing that sets Hiveclass apart the most is the fact that all of our content, for one, as I mentioned before, was built by physical educators from the ground up. And it comes from a perspective of physical education, not athletic supremacy. I don't know if that's quite the right word, but what we're doing is we are a resource for the 99% of kids who really want to learn how to play a sport and who really want to be active. We are not a resource for the 1% of kids who want to go on to become elite athletes. And the way that we've done that is by scaffolding all of our content. So so all of our content builds upon each other rather than throwing you everything all at once. Okay. Nobody has any, sorry?
No, I was just going to say, to add to it,
Yes.
we build the platform to be very exploratory. So kids, youth sports in America is very expensive today. I'm sure where some of you who are abroad, you may or may not have access to great instruction based on your base. And so this allows for kids to be able to explore sports in a way that is very convenient to them and their families. And from your perspective, just a great resource to introduce them to new topics that may be of interest to families and kids.
That's a great point, Joe. This is Paul. I think the additional thing that I'd like to just mention too is that when we were designing all of these skill videos, we really wanted to be mindful of the reality of the environment in which our kids would be actually performing this. So in large case, if you're looking at volleyball or you're looking at basketball or even tennis, it doesn't require you to get 6 of your friends before you press play on the volleyball video. You don't have to be at a court. In fact, we like to say that a majority of our videos really just requires to have kind of a beach blanket size space with very limited equipment and facilities needed in order for you to follow along. So I think that is important. You'll see in tennis, there's even some videos that don't require a racket, right? So we're looking at kind of technique and form, things of that nature.
Fantastic. Thank you both. Because you're absolutely right. As you're saying tennis, it reminded me that I wanted to show this. I've got it muted just so I can have it play while I talk, but this is one of those skills, of course, that you see that requires very little space and no equipment at all.
And you can go ahead and show that last task in every single chapter is what we call a quiz. This is really just a touch point. Kids like to be interactive and be able to fill out these quizzes, test their knowledge, see if they've retained all of the cognitive cues that we've gone over in each of the videos. And so it's not meant to kind of stump them. They can retake it, see where they got things wrong, and be able to work towards something. The dashboard too is a place where we can the patron can kind of pick up and continue where they left off. And so obviously there's so many different courses available. That dashboard allows them to kind of see and organize the units that they have started. And so obviously Elizabeth here has gone through quite a lot, so it looks quite similar.
Yeah. I'm a busy bee.
Kind of get the point.
Yeah. All right, so I think we've hit most of the content and most of the things on the features on the platform itself. So again, barring any questions from the group, I'd like to just shift focus just a tiny bit, just to bring up that programming that I'd mentioned before, which is here. And I really like to do this because one of the a question that we often get as well, especially from librarians, is how are other libraries using this? How can I use this? Because I think we may all know it is not typical or very much expected for us to interact with our resources in the library setting. And so for one like ours, which is encouraged to be used in a library setting, it can be a little bit difficult to understand and figure out exactly how to do that. So I've got these guides. This is the one that is geared for youth services. So for me personally, I tended in a library to work mostly with middle grade kids, so that 7 to 9-year-old age range. So those are the kids that are in mind for most of these activities, but it could be very easily adapted to older or younger. And so it's broken up into active programs, and these are just things that are designed to get kids moving in a library space rather than feeling the need to go to a park or the playground or their backyard or some other community space. It's really encouraging them to come to the library itself. So most of these can also be considered arts and crafts. Balloon volleyball is a great program if you've never done it. Tabletop foosball and soccer, these are a little bit more steamy, and it encourages a lot more of that interpersonal connection that I'd mentioned before. So these are not all, these programs do not necessarily use the platform itself. They're analogous to a lot of the courses that we have on the platform, so you can always use that to support as supportive material. And then activities and crafts are, again, just arts and crafty things to encourage sports interest. So somebody really likes soccer, great. Make a soccer ball out of paper mache. That's a great STEAM program. If you don't have, if you want to, we also have printables, crafty things like this. I'll just scroll down because there's a lot. Again, I'm just finding little touch points, little ways to encourage the interest that any child might have in whatever sport that they're interested in. So you can go ahead.
Elizabeth, I just want to check, is everyone able to see your screen sharing? It dropped about 5 minutes ago, and I wasn't sure if it's just me.
Mike, I can see it. Oh, the other people can't see it?
I can see it.
Interesting. It even says that I'm sharing still. Interesting.
Well, hopefully you guys, it'll show up on the recording. I'm seeing it on my end. And so, but I'm it's my account recording it. So hopefully it'll show for you and you can catch the last little bit on the recording.
Yeah, if it doesn't show on the recording, then a lot of what I'm saying won't make sense. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it does. Let me see. Was it Michael whose screen stopped? The sharing stopped?
Yeah, there's
okay.
A couple of us were just kind of wondering, but
sounds
like it's specific to us, so not a problem.
Okay, well, what I'll do is, like I said, it is available on the platform. I see here a question. Linda asked, how can you receive the guide? You can either, like I said, access it through the platform if your account is tagged as such, or you can go to the Hiveclass website where there is a resources page, and then once you just enter your email, it'll automatically be sent out to you. I can also share it with Anne after this recording. If Anne, please feel free to let me know if that's appropriate, to send out to people as well.
Sure, I'll do that.
Okay. So for those of us who can see, I'll try to be a little bit more descriptive than just in case. So what we're looking at now are just a couple of crosswords for a few specific sports: field hockey, basketball, volleyball. There are arts and craft ideas like using sun catchers that you can make in the design of any kind of sports ball. There are paper dolls, which have different sports uniforms, different hair types, things like that, because we want every kid to see themselves in the sport or represented. So like I mentioned, this is the guide that is for youth services. And then I've also created another one for teen services as well. So for, teens ages 13 and up, I would say most of these are appropriate for. And the purpose of this guide is really just to remind teens. Oh, there you go. Perfect. Now you can see just in time. So the purpose of this guide is really just to remind teens of the joy of being active and how much fun it can be to just go out and run around and play and do things. Because speaking for myself, or maybe a lot of us can remember, I think it can be very easy when you're a teenager to forget that, just playing a game of Duck, Duck, Goose is just as fun as, being on TikTok. So I've got things like an obstacle course here. I've got things like balloon volley, foot volley, musical chairs. These are not complicated by any means. They are going to use materials that you probably already have in your library. Or if you don't have it, they're very inexpensive to buy. Schoolyard games, which I've actually gotten feedback from teens that it's quote unquote retro, that they did these when they were kids, which as an adult hurts my heart a little bit to think that way. And then I've also got something about homework and move, because again, we want to encourage kids to really, be healthy. And I think that there nowadays in a lot of schools, at least here in the US, emphasis is placed on the concept of brain breaks. And I also think that there is an application for that in a library setting. For activities and crafts, these carrying on the theme of mental health, each of these crafts are designed to give teens kind of outlets and tools to deal with their mental health. So for anxiety, for stressful situations, just to kind of express their emotions in general. Some of these are a little bit more meditative than others. Mandala coloring pages, which are great to just kind of turn your brain off, let the anxiety kind of wash through you, let the stress wash through you, so that you can really be present in the moment. So that's generally it for these two guides. Like I said, I've got more coming this month, but they're not quite ready yet, and they will be shared with everybody when they are. Does anybody have any questions about programming?